Peter Whittle. Peter, I mean, we need to talk about so many aspects of what is going on over there. But, you know, I keep hearing, you know, these Palestinian flag wavers in London. We've got the UN saying, oh, well, let's have a minute's silence for the casualties in Palestine, not even mentioning the casualties in Israel. And as we were just discussing, this awesome, terrifying response by Netanyahu.
Yes.
Understandable. And I keep coming back to this. Well, they started it. They started it. So let's not demonise Israel here, eh?
No. I think, well, as for the flag wavers in London...
By the way, Peter, sorry to interrupt, but we are watching yet again, I mean, the huge explosions now in Gaza as the Israeli airstrikes continue apace. But sorry.
Yes, no, it's terrible to, you know, to witness what we have over the past few days in so many capitals, actually, so many cities, including, as you say, in London, where people have actually been, these demonstrators have actually been glorying, I see it, in barbarism, you know, in what can only be described as a kind of medieval-type barbarism that's been visited on Israel and the Israeli people. And I think it is quite disgusting that they were even allowed to do that. It is extraordinary how, when it comes to Israel, there's this kind of equivocal response. I think it is beholden to every Western country to absolutely give its full-throated support to Israel. You know, they are one of our strongest allies. We are one of their strongest allies too, and also for Western civilization, actually, for which they're part. These are the bigger questions here. I think what people don't often realise, actually, Kevin, is that Hamas, you know, you're dealing with people here who want to obliterate Israel. You know,
it's their only ambition.
Yes, all this talk about free Palestine is almost beside the point. One of their main motives is to obliterate Israel, is to wipe out Jews, is to kill Jews. If you look at their charter from 1988, when they were first founded, it's quite explicit about that. OK, they finessed it a bit a few years later, but that's what it's really about. And that kind of impulse actually predates even the foundation of Hamas.
And this is the problem with them. You know, they know that their ambition, their aim, is unachievable.
Yeah.
They know the Israeli state, the Jewish state, is here to stay. And yet their only ambition is to destroy it, is to get rid of it, so that Israel doesn't exist. So given that they know that can't happen, they settle for second best. And that's what this is all about. They are determined to instigate eternal conflict. That's what this is about.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Also, I think William Hague in the Times today made this point as well, that it's kind of, it might have in mind the growing sort of direction of travel in the Middle East, you know, with the various deals being made, which have been sort of hoped for, and that there is one obviously imminent with Saudi Arabia. And this is a kind of a pushback, if you like, against that, a sort of rage, as he put it. But I think that it can't be said enough, Kevin, that, you know, we should absolutely stand behind Israel. The accounts of what happened over those those 2 days on a holy day as well, just, well, beg a belief. To say it is actually their 9/11 is not, I think, hyperbole.
No, I don't think it is. What Hamas didn't like, I mean, they're a destructive organisation. That's all they're about, is conflict and destruction. What they didn't like was that Saudi Arabia is closing in on a kind of peace deal with Israel, and other Arab nations have finally come to the conclusion that sort of eternal strife with Israel is getting no one anywhere. So therefore, they're saying, right, we need to come to a deal where Israel and us can coexist in a kind of harmony. That's the last thing in the world Hamas want. And so would you say, Peter, that this raid, this declaration of war over the weekend by Hamas was a deliberate attempt to scupper the new harmonious relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel?
Yes, but at the same time, Kevin, you know, it could happen, it could happen again, and it's happened many times before. So essentially, this is a long-term aim of theirs, regardless of deals that might be going on or not. I think the other point to make as well is, I just talked about the flag wavers in in London last night. I have to say Paris actually had a very peaceful vigil in support of Israel, and they had a march. I would like to see many more marches in countries like this one supporting Israel, actually. We get way too much of the other stuff, you know, from people who are supposedly British, who basically come out on those sort of events. But I would also say that, you know, there is this sense in which the left, the hard left, and the people who might go on demonstrations like this, they hate Israel because, in some ways, it's a standing rebuke to them. You know, here
Sorry, Peter, we've got to keep commentating on this, another massive explosion. I mean, these are just coming in thick and fast. The mind boggles as to where we're heading today. But sorry.
Yes, I was going to say, you have this extraordinarily successful country, right? The only democracy in the Middle East, extraordinarily developed in terms of culture and science and all of those things, surrounded by pretty corrupt tyrannies, right? And therefore, it's a standing rebuke to them. And the left can't bear it, you know? The left can't bear it.
And what is the problem with the left? I mean, you know, you look at the Labour Party conference, in fairness to Sir Keir Starmer, he's completely condemned the actions of Hamas, made it clear where the Labour Party stands on this, at least according to the leader. But outside of the Liverpool conference hall, you know, hundreds of people waving Palestinian flags. I mean, that is a syndrome that we're only too well aware of in the Labour Party, that the left of the Labour Party is foursquare behind Palestine and hates Israel.
Yes, I know. It's very, very strong. Indeed, obviously, Keir Starmer supported Corbyn throughout all those years when Corbyn was quite unequivocal when he supported Hamas, which is extraordinary when you look back on it now. I think one of the reasons with the left is that they are riven with self-hatred for a start. Never, ever underestimate that. But as I said, also, Israel to them symbolises the West, it symbolises America. It symbolises all these things. The sheer success of it also is something that they can't deal with. And I think that one of the funniest things I've seen, actually, Kevin, this is a while ago now, is that amongst many of the left kind of groups, you know, on campuses and in countries like ours, there was one group of gays for Palestine, right? With a big flag, Gays for Palestine. Now, do they have any idea, these idiots, how gay people would be treated?
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Any idea? Israel is the only place, for example, where you have a gay pride and you can live openly. It is quite extraordinary. That's just one example I'm giving you of the attitude of these people when they criticise Israel.
They're politically illiterate, I totally agree. Let's discuss, we've only got a minute or so left, Peter, but this extremely chilling threat by Hamas. They've taken hostage about more than 100 people after their raid on Israel, taken them back into Gaza, apparently is keeping them underground. They are now saying that for every bomb, you know, look how often we're seeing the explosions go off now. Every time one of those explosions happens and Israel does not warn Gaza that it's about to bomb it, they will execute and broadcast this execution. They will execute one hostage and then broadcast it. Now, given the atrocities they've already committed, rape, kidnap, murdering people on their doorsteps when they opened the door, I wouldn't put this past them, would you?
No, and do you know, in a terrible way, perhaps, Kevin, it needs almost to be seen so that people know what we're talking about with these people. I mean, at the moment, there is the most...
Another one? Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, I keep you interrupting. Another one's gone off. Huge explosion. Sorry,
there is the most extraordinary level of ignorance about the general situation. But, you know, you're talking about ISIS levels of barbarism. And so I think that, therefore, finally, maybe many other people will wake up when that happens.